board co-chair, along with LaTanya Wilkins of the Leadership Forum community, and a founding member of the community, and delighted to be here this afternoon, and delighted to introduce Helena Escalante. And Helena has been part of our community this year, and
Yes.
what I continue to think is that she has a dynamic message. She's inspirational and very instructive. She's also the author of a book, The Quickest Guide to Content Creation. And she has worked with a number of different organizations and people along the way, from startups to small companies, to help them in many of the areas that she'll talk about today. Today's topic is called Finding Your Voice: How to Share Your Ideas, Grow Your Following, and Be Seen as the Thought Leader you are. And if that doesn't inspire you to be fully engaged, I'm not sure what will. I think the message will be compelling, and I look forward to learning and listening today. Helena, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Wonderful. On the contrary, thank you. And a massive thank you to everyone who is here today. I am just delighted to be here, and we have so much to cover. So let's get started. But before we get started with anything else, I think there's not a better time today that we're starting the second half of the year to imagine where we were exactly 6 months ago. And what we were doing. We were celebrating the New Year's. Matt, can I please ask you to deploy the poll? Who in here set resolutions or goals, or whatever you want to call them, for this year? So just answer the poll, please. And Matt, you tell us when when we're at a high percentage of answers.
Will do.
Please. So just answer yes or no, whether you made New Year's resolutions or not. This year, or for all intents and purposes, any other year.
Cool.
Ketlaho says, happy mid-year, everyone. Hey, happy mid-year, yes. Joel says, what if you can't remember? Well, no. Not necessarily that you can't remember, but that's precisely, that leads me to the next step. Okay, so the poll results are 67 of us did, 33% of us did not. Okay, so for those of us that did, Kathy says that's because you had too much champagne. That's why you can't remember. That's awesome. Okay, so for those of us that may be able to remember, where are we on those goals? I'll be very honest with you. I am absolutely nowhere near. This year came and threw us for a spin. So Robert says, I achieved my goal in March. Woohoo! Yay! That's awesome. Anybody else? How are you guys doing? And feel free to say, nowhere near, or yes, I achieved my goal. All new goals since March. Absolutely. Continuing. Very good. Well, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because nobody could have predicted COVID-19. Nobody, absolutely no one could have foreseen how this came and turned us upside down, whether you happen to enjoy the upside down or not, but we were all upside down. And the sheltering in place, some people decided that it was a good thing and it enabled them to be more effective, more efficient. Some others just didn't know what to do with themselves. It has been completely unpredictable, if anything. But the one thing that as leaders has made us do is really be very, very nimble and pivot. And some of us are continuing to pivot as we take a look at the calendar and realize, holy cow, it is the 1st of July. What are we going to do the rest of the year? So, while we cannot predict what the next half of the year is going to bring, we certainly can predict how we can act towards those that we lead, how we can communicate with them, and how we can do it in a way in which is authentic, in which it's generous, in which it's heartfelt, despite any kind of circumstance that we run into. So my theory and my challenge to you is to go about communicating and leading in a way in which we can all do it right now. Again, we don't know about the rest of the world, but we know about ourselves. We can't predict what we can do. And the best way to share your ideas, to grow your following as a leader, to be seen by them as a thought leader, in my mind, is by creating content and staying in touch frequently and consistently. And you decide what that content is. It could be social media, it could be an email blast, it could be starting a blog, it could be a podcast, anything you want as a group or as an individual. It is your own style that makes you, well, you. But what I want to do today is basically make a quick deal with you. As you go about communicating and creating this content for your audience and for those that you lead, I want to do a quick deal and say, you pick your content platform, whichever one you prefer. The one that works for you and for your audience is the absolute best. And then I'll show you really quick today how to figure out your why and your how so that you can make it happen. Do we have a deal? Does everybody, can you say deal in the chat? All right. So now let's do something even better to seal that deal, okay? I want all of us to do a virtual fist bump, and I have conspired with Matthew to take a screenshot of all of us doing the fist bump that we're gonna share, all right? So let me just stop the sharing really quick, and let's all go and fist bump. All right, screenshot, yay, fist bump! Matt, you tell us when you're done. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. So let me go back to sharing the screen. Very cool. I don't think I've ever done a virtual fist bump with so many people. This is fantastic, and I am thrilled. All right. So for my, hang on, let me advance the slide. Okay, so for my very first trick, I already have selected a volunteer, Mr. Todd Churches. Can you please unmute yourself? You are going to help me, please. Thank you.
All right.
And okay, so we are going to do a very deep dive into the reasons why we want to lead. The reason why I'm doing this is this is a very, very simple exercise, and don't dismiss it because it's so simple. And many of us may have already done it, but I think it's worth doing it again at this point to see how we can move forward and what our root reason, what our motivation is to move forward. So Todd, I am going to ask you to please pick a leadership goal that you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year. And it could be a personal goal, it could be a professional goal, but share it with us, please.
Sure. Well, one of my goals for this year, with my book coming out and my new website, which is launching next week, was to start using video more, producing more video content, whether it's live or recorded, but leveraging the power of video.
All right. Well, that is fantastic. And I swear to you, ladies and gentlemen, that we did not stage this, that he wanted to do more video content. This is totally new. So I'm so thrilled because it is perfect for this conference. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go deep and ask why 5 to 7 times to find out what's behind this. So let me just state it. So Todd, why do you want to produce more video content?
Well, as you know, visuals are a big part of what I do, and I tend to use a lot of PowerPoint slides and drawing, but video is the next generation. So using more video is just another visual way of getting my ideas out there into the world.
Okay, so why do you want to get your ideas out there into the world?
One, to influence people to recognize, create awareness for visual thinking and how we use visuals and communicate visually. And that's a great way to, again, get others to see what you're saying. That's one of my mantras, right? How you get people to see what you're saying. Pictures is great. Video takes it to the next level.
Okay. So why do you want to create awareness? Why is it important for others to see what you're saying?
It creates visibility for my book, for my training, coaching, and consulting services, for my personal brand. Those are all reasons.
Okay. And why is it important to create visibility for your brand, for yourself, for your work, for what you do?
Well, one is to help other people be more successful, to help them use visual thinking and visual communication more effectively, as I talk about using metaphor, analogy, mental models, and storytelling. If people, so if I need to model those behaviors to influence others to recognize the power of them so that they'll start doing it.
Perfect. So that was the fifth why. And at this point, I just want to show you, Todd, you were awesome. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. But I just want to point out, when Todd first answered my question, his answer was, well, I want to create more video content. Why? Because I want to share my visuals. And we slowly peeled it off as the layers of an onion to get to the core. And the core was a much deeper, clearer, a stronger, and if you ask me, a driven desire to get people to be, in your words, Todd, to get others to be more successful utilizing your models. So what started as, well, I just want to use more video, ends up being almost a mission that drives you. And that's the beauty and the simplicity of this exercise, that you peel by asking why and why and why and why again, so that you get to that bottom line. And so now I am going to ask you guys to go and do this on your own. So Matt, if you could please go ahead and deploy the breakouts. The instructions are very simple. Just model what you just saw. Each one of you simply pick one leadership goal that you want to accomplish between now and the end of the year and how you intend to do it. And then the other people in the break room just ask 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times why. If the why at the 5th time is still a little bit iffy, then just dig a few more times, maybe 7 whys or something, but you will definitely get to a very heartfelt, very deep goal that is there. And then we'll come back and share. All right. So Matthew, take it away.
Sounds good. Sending you all off now.
Perfect. See you. Share some did any of you get an aha moment? Did any of you get to a really deep why that you didn't envision before, or was there something great? Share with us.
I got a little concerned when Steve kept asking, why is the sky blue? I just thought it would make everybody laugh. Okay.
I did not.
You guys. All right. So
it's that Kemner Trago why analysis.
All right. So Charlie says, meaningful exercise, but more time needed. Yes, unfortunately. Yeah, you can go with this for hours, definitely. Great talking to Howard and Rachel. More time was needed. Yes, I totally agree that. But great insights, discussion, thumbs up. Awesome. I'm so glad that it helped. So the one thing that I would say for all of us going forward is, whatever why you found or whatever was your deepest why that you got to, put it in a sticky note and make sure that you keep it somewhere near where you work, where you want to do that why. In my group, for instance, Rich, can I say? Are you there? I can't see you. Rich, sure. Can I share? He's going to be writing a book. So definitely I'll invite you to talk about that book, because I think it would be of interest to every single person in here. But, I would suggest, grab that put it in a sticky note and put it wherever you are going to be writing, and in your fridge and in the dashboard of your car or wherever, so that you can keep that motivation always running next to you between now and the end of the year while you make that happen. Robert says, Todd identified that my present goal is connected to a bigger game. That's awesome. Eileen, oh hi Eileen, says great discussion. We need more time. Yes, I totally agree. But anyway, I would encourage you to continue with digging the why and keeping going. So Joel says, Helena, question if you have a moment. Yeah, by all means.
Yeah, so quick question. Sometimes with the two people I was working with, I feel like they were so thoughtful and could get to the deeper why faster. You only needed one or two whys. Mm-hmm. So wondering, how far maybe sometimes you push when you say get to 5 whys, but if people would get there faster, it's not a problem, right?
No, not a problem at all. No. The idea is simply to get almost to the deepest why. And what happens is every time I do this exercise with clients or friends or in groups like this, it's roughly the same. We start with something that seems like an awesome or super cool idea or goal. But then when you get to the bottom, whether it's 3 whys, 5, 7, 10, or however many whys into the process, it all comes down to a very personal, deep desire of making a difference in others' lives and leaving a legacy, something that is your contribution to the culture, to the beauty of the planet, of history, of the ones that surround you, of your loved ones, of humanity. So we're all very similar that way. We just express it differently, but it all comes down to that. And I think it's really beautiful when we realize that we're all united by that same goal. So I hope that answers. So yes, as many whys as you need, whether very few or a lot, keep going. Okay, so good. It seems that everybody got a good outcome out of this exercise. Okay, so now let's move on to the second part of this. And
Helena, I just want to make one comment. One of the ways I've done this exercise in the past you could do it on your own, is to create like a mind map where you start with your goal at the middle and then you branch out. So you can say why, there's short term, there's long term. And if you could do it even as an exercise on your own, a thought piece, a visual thinking exercise. And I've seen a lot of people, the light bulb goes off when you go, you start branching out in other directions. As when I was talking to Robert, we went off in some different directions and we each had some ahas that we hadn't had before. And part of it was like, as he was talking, I was actually visualizing those mind map bubbles expanding. So that's just another way to do it.
Awesome. Yeah. So yes, I definitely invite you all to do it as mind mapping or in a group with friends or just one-on-one with somebody else, or just make sure that however you do it, that you go deep and that you expand, so that as Todd was saying, you keep seeing all these bubbles, if you may, expand so that you can get to your deeper why. Anyway, okay, so now let's move on to the next one. So let me show you the how, basically. Hang on, if I could only, okay, move. But before we get started, I want to share this because I think it's very important to recognize that we tend to think in pictures a lot, but we also, our words can reinforce, or even, as this Chinese proverb says, paint in ways that the eyes can't see. So the way in which you express yourself will definitely lead to create some great feelings. So if you think of your favorite brand, you probably are thinking of a logo. But another very important part of branding, but also of leadership, is how people feel when they see you. And in here, I love doing this exercise because you yourself are going to be witnesses to something that is very, very much fun. Can I ask all of you to please unmute yourselves? So just take a second, and everyone, go ahead and unmute yourselves. Okay, so now, those of you who are fans of Apple, please express that now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, very cool. Thank you. Now, those of you who are fans of Microsoft, can you please express that now?
Yay, Microsoft!
All right, very, very cool. Okay, thank you so much. You can go back to muting yourselves. Awesome. But did you see what happened? So whether you root for one or you root for the other, the brand always makes you feel something. And as leaders, those feelings are, the feelings that we evoke are feelings that are associated with something that our audience, with a connection that our audience makes, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. So what I posit is that if those associations are going to be made, so might as well go ahead and design them and design those feelings consciously so that you can, as a leader, incubate the style of leadership that brings out those feelings that you want to evoke. So for my second trick of the evening, I am going to ask for Todd's help again. Todd, where are you? I can't see you. Let me see.
I am here.
Okay, so let's go then to find what I call our voice. So the way in which we are going to present ourselves. And for that, I thank you, Matt, and thank you, Anne, for everybody who sent out this exercise yesterday, the 150 attributes. So Todd, can I ask you, did you get a chance to look at this document, please?
I did.
Awesome. So the idea behind this is to pick 3 to 5 attributes that best describe you. And we have a list of 150 here, but this is by no means exhaustive. So select the ones that best describe you, whether from here or bring in your own. We're not married to any of the attributes in here. And what I mean by best describe is really those attributes that will fit you perfectly. That if somebody were to describe yourself with eyes closed, they would unequivocally use these words to describe you. And then let's go ahead and pair them with attributes that you would never, ever, 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 ever want to be associated with. And they do not necessarily have to be the opposite. So, for instance, in my case, I want to be seen as resourceful, and I take great pride in doing things that help people move forward. But at the same time, I would never want to be overwhelming because too many resources can also overwhelm. So I would never, ever, ever want to be overwhelming. On the contrary, I want to be very helpful and very resourceful, but never to the point where people say, well, thanks, but really no thanks. You give me more than, I a bit of more than I can chew and I can move forward now. So that's the spirit of this exercise. So Todd, let's go ahead and do it with you. So pick 3 attributes that best describe you, please.
Okay, so just the first part. So one is
Yes.
knowledgeable.
Let me write them down. Okay, so knowledgeable.
Humorous. Introverted.
And introverted. Okay, perfect. So I think that describes you perfectly. And if I were to make an introduction to anybody via email, those are probably words that I would definitely use. So you selected perfectly. All right. So what are the attributes that you would never want to be associated with? So you want to be knowledgeable, but not what?
But not boring.
Okay. Oh, you would never be boring. So, hey, you're right on track. Right. Okay, cool. So you want to be humorous, but not
clownish.
Okay.
And introverted, but not quiet.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever knows Todd in this room, can we just give him a round of applause? He described himself perfectly. Yay! So we could even do like a literal round going around like this. So anyway, congratulations, Todd, because that is awesome. Thanks. So now it is your turn to go and do it. So let's go, please, Matthew, into breakout rooms. If we could go and do that for 10 minutes, please. And let's just go ahead and practice. The document will be up. And if you don't mind, just drop it in the chat as well so that they can have it and work from that. And we will see you back in a little bit. Because as we all move towards, again, leading or towards making our goal come true, the more we stick to our authentic selves, the more we can lead ourselves and lead others and take our goal and our audience, our tribes, as Seth Godin would put it, to where we want to take them and to where they want to go, because they're following along because we have something that is very attractive. They know, like, and trust us, and they believe that we will take them to where they want to go. So I think it's very important, again, going back to the why and the legacy, that we always continue to be that authentic self with whatever it is that we do. And, you know, Joel just wrote something beautiful in the chat. I often find it good to return to activities like this because it helps us to continue to incubate our highest and best self intentionally. And I completely agree. You couldn't have said that more beautiful. And I just, in closing, will say that, you know, no matter what forum or who you lead, going forward, knowing why you are doing what you're doing and the attributes that you want to portray and how you want people to feel about you and to see you will definitely make sure that all of your actions match this, and you will get closer to your goals by design, which is the most beautiful thing. Because if we are going to be seen and perceived as leaders, but as well really design how we want it to be to make the biggest impact for everyone involved. And the last question that I want to ask is, what idea do you take from this that you're going to apply going forward? Let us know in just that one very last minute that we have. Howard says, finding one's authentic self is worth the journey. Absolutely. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Know thyself and be true to that. So what if an attribute we identify with could still be viewed negatively? You know, I'll be happy to talk to you about that, because I'm not sure exactly how exactly you're seeing that, but I'm happy to stay after for questions, or I will be here tomorrow for the coffee talk. So definitely we can do that. Evolve, grow authentically, love yourself, love your future self even more. That's so beautiful. So leverage your attributes. Awesome. I'm so glad that you liked it. And with that, I'll just return to the mic to Howard, and thank you for being here. Please contact me. I will also be here tomorrow, and I really look forward to continue being involved in the forum. So thank you, everyone. Howard, the floor is all yours.
Hi, I know I don't look or feel like Howard, but I'm going to actually be closing out for Howard. So, sorry, no, that's funny. So anyways, we have our summit next week, July 8th and 9th. As Anne said, if you haven't already indicated what sector you want to participate in, please let her know. We have our coffee hour tomorrow, so if you'd like to dig deeper, please join us for that. And I'm so excited. It's time, and I'm going to see you all next week at the summits. And thank you so much, Helena. It's our group talked about how we're going to continue to dialogue offline, and so we really appreciate it. We just want to spend a little bit more time with some of the word list and the attributes. And so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you either tomorrow or sometime next week.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you. And we'll stay on the call if anybody wants to stay.
Yes, absolutely. I'm here and I'm staying if anybody else wants to talk.